Do you think this is disrespectful to the Ravens that they are ranked as the second most vulnerable division champ?
No, because when you look at the teams on the list, I mean, I don't think they're this vulnerable. And I don't agree with her that the Steelers with Rodgers will challenge them for the division title. But you look at, I mean, all the teams on the list were good. It was Detroit is number one.
It's the 8 division champions.
Think Houston, I think, is third. Yeah, it's all the division champions. So, you know, you put good teams on there. The division, it remains to be seen how good. It's going to be physical, and Cleveland can beat you, even though they're a bad team. They might be able to beat you in a divisional game. Pittsburgh, of course. But it remains to be seen how good, because if Pittsburgh falls off, like I've been saying, first losing season under Tomlin, Cleveland's not going to be very good. Cincinnati will be good, a tough game, but I don't know if the division will be quite as good. But outside of that, and, you know, I got the Ravens absolutely making the playoffs and being a Super Bowl contender, but the schedule is crazy. I don't know if we can throw the schedule up, but outside of the division, they got Buffalo, Detroit, and Kansas City in their first 4 weeks.
Well, they have a tough opening month.
Cleveland, Detroit, and then Kansas City.
Yeah.
I mean, no, that's the. Then you got Houston, the Rams, Chicago, if they end up being good, breakdancers in Miami, Minnesota, and Green Bay.
So they
got a tough schedule.
This is going to be confusing for the audience because I actually think this is very disrespectful to Baltimore because it is putting far too much faith in the Bengals. Like, the Browns are a cross-off, and to me, as far as winning 12 games, the Steelers are a cross-off.
Yeah, not winning 12
And
games.
so this is, like, to me, my questions about Baltimore are well established, but they are all playoff related. Baltimore is a surefire, excellent regular season team at the very least. So to say that Baltimore is threatened more by Cincinnati than Philadelphia is by Washington, I think is wrong. Listen, Detroit is, I understand why they're the most vulnerable because all the teams potentially being good, so they're a separate category. So it's just the teams beneath Baltimore on it. I think while I am very high on the Rams and not as high on the Niners, I think you make a very strong argument that the Rams are more in jeopardy than Baltimore because of the Niners. I think, man on island, I get it. Houston's in jeopardy in their division because of the upgrades that Jacksonville has made in the offseason. But by the way, you're kind of laughing at me. I think Brew probably would be more surprised by Cincinnati winning the North than Jacksonville winning the South. Like, I would be. And so.
You said more surprised?
I don't think no one has explained to me why Cincinnati's season isn't going to be the same. They
got a new DC. That's what people are putting their faith.
Yeah,
that's
it. Like by the way,
draft,
except here's the flip side of the new DC is we drafted a first rounder on defense. By the way, he's the only first rounder who's not participating in anything because the team can't get a contract done. And we drafted him because our star defensive end wants a new contract, hasn't gotten one, and he's holding press conferences and golf carts saying, you guys don't respect me.
Yes,
and so people are assuming Cincinnati is going to fix its problems from last year. I don't know how.
Okay. Listen, I'm going to be honest right off the top. I think the Baltimore Ravens are terrible. No. Listen, off the top, really, it's just, it doesn't get much more manufactured than this. Okay? Let's just take the 8 divisional champions and see which one's most vulnerable. And it's funny because then Bruce's like, well, if you look at the 8 teams, it's all it's all great teams. Yeah, because they all won the division. I mean, it's like, it's you're gonna have the Bills there and the Ravens there and the Eagles there and the Chiefs there. So it's just kind of manufactured, and I understand why you're gonna feel that way in terms of like, oh, the Bengals could win because it is Joe Burrow. You have to give respect to Joe Burrow, and I beg Ravens fans to not downplay Joe Burrow, because otherwise then winning the division and beating Joe Burrow means nothing then. It means nothing. Like, I'll never get why other teams like to downplay their competition and say, oh, they're overrated, they're not good. And if that's the case, well, then it's not impressive that you beat them. You know, like it's not impressive. So, you know, Joe Burrow is a special quarterback, and that offense was legit. And the games between the Bengals and the Ravens were neck and neck. So easily the most exciting games all season, especially regular season games. Now, I mean, that was just as exciting and as awesome and as can't miss TV as you can get in all of sports. And that was with the Bengals with an awful defense. And so there is the feeling of like, the defense can't be that bad again. And you did get a new defensive coordinator and you did do some stuff in the draft. So you're like, the hope is like, if they could just marginally improve, well, then there you go. Then this should be a closer race. And I think that's fair. It's not to say that the Ravens still shouldn't be favored. That's why it's like, oh, they're one of the more vulnerable teams. Like, again, it's just the language, the category that we're in here. I mean, you know, it's the Lions are 1, the Ravens are 2, the Eagles are 3. Let's see. Yeah, that is the official order, and that's like the only way that I can get it, where it's like all the teams at once rather than each individual team. And it's like the Buffalo Bills. We got the Patriots coming for them, like the Jets, like they got a lot of cross-off teams. The Kansas City Chiefs, I think technically should be higher up on a scale of vulnerability, but like I get it. The Chargers, the Broncos, the Raiders, what have you done in any recent history? Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it's like you're really relying on the Falcons. Again, what have you done recently? Houston Texans, it's like, you know, what are you expecting the Tennessee Titans to now step up? I know the Jags, but still. The Rams, like, I think there is some vulnerability with the 49ers. That makes sense because at least recently the 49ers, a couple years ago, literally went to a Super Bowl. But I guess it probably all depends on how you feel about Brock Purdy as the quarterback. And then now again, like you're with the Lions, the Ravens, and the Eagles, and it's just kind of like when you say, oh, well, the Ravens are the second most vulnerable and they're more than the Eagles, and you're just like, well, it's 2 and 3. You're just like, but it's like, you know what I mean? Like, what does it really matter? What does it really mean? I'm not so sure it means anything. And so it's just like, to me, it becomes a forced conversation. Because like the way how Nick said, he goes, well, to me, he goes, I think the Eagles are definitely more vulnerable than the Ravens with the Commanders. And it sounds like when you put in that language that it's just like so much more grandiose. And I'm just like, there's this massive margin. And I just not so sure about that. I am, you know, check the record. I'm a massive supporter of Jaden Daniels and the Commanders and believe in them. But the Eagles just won the Super Bowl. You got to give them credit there. They dominated the Commanders, 55 points to whatever. Like, you know, I mean, it was just a dominant game. So, like, you know, you understand, yes, you're like, yeah, the Eagles maybe potentially took a little bit of a step back, but then it's just like, okay, well, then you have to believe that the Bengals potentially took a step forward, that the Chargers potentially took a step forward, that the Patriots took a step forward. You know, the Ravens, did they take a step forward or did they stay the same? Did the Eagles take a step back, stay the same, probably not step forward? How about the Rams? Did they take a step forward? Okay, did the 49ers? Like, so if we're going to play the step forward, step backward game, well, then kind of like everyone kind of moves together in a way. Like everything just kind of becomes proportionately the same thing here. So I don't know. But the one thing that we do know without a shadow of a doubt out of all of these teams that are listed here, like the teams that can come from the teams and the quarterbacks that could come from behind, you know, that could beat these division winners. Joe Burrow's the best quarterback, right? I mean, it's not Drake May, it's not Justin Herbert, Bo Nix, or Geno Smith. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, some of those we don't even know who the quarterback's going to be. The Houston Texans definitely not. Los Angeles Rams, again, Brock Purdy is probably the next in line under Stafford, and it's like Joe Burrow is better than Brock Purdy. Newsflash. Philadelphia Eagles, yeah, you have Jaden Daniels, and like I said, I'm a huge believer in Jaden Daniels, but he did it 1 year. He's got to prove that he can do it for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and I believe he will, but I understand why you're just not going to automatically crown him. And then you got the Baltimore Ravens, and it's like, well, Joe Burrow is there. Joe Burrow is a great quarterback. No question about it. Say what you will about the Bengals. Bengals are certainly have not been a great franchise. Joe Burrow is special. if they can get any type of competency with the Bengals, we know what they can do. They can beat the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs. They can get to the Super Bowl, and they can be a play away from winning the Super Bowl. And then the Lions, you know, you just have enough good teams in that division that I feel like the vulnerability there to a degree makes sense, because you do have the Packers, you do have the Vikings, you do have the Bears, and I just think that they'll be, it'll be a little bit harder for them. It'll be easier for them to slip because of just the sheer intensity of that division, and also losing both coordinators, et cetera, et cetera. But again, it's like, this is to me, this is just a forced, manufactured list and conversation. And sometimes I can have fun with those lists. A lot of times I can have fun with those lists, but it's just like, I'm just like, okay, so since we know the Ravens have to be on this list, like, okay, so 2 is disrespectful. So, should we put them at 6? Should we put them at 7, 4, 3? Like, what number then is not disrespectful? Like, I just, I mean, I don't know. I praised the Eagles all last season. Gave them one of the only few people that really gave them the chance to win in the playoffs, win the Super Bowl. Praised Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And yet, like, I'm not like, this is disrespectful that the Eagles are top 3. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I don't know. It feels too manufactured and too forced to me personally. But, I don't know. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Do you think this is disrespectful to Baltimore? Are you ready to just flood the streets? Let me know in the comments below. I'll read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.